Listen, baby, ain't no mountain is high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river is wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far. Well, welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show, and I am your host, Edwin is Timeless. I'm also known as a Time Lord, and I'm also the only Time Walker. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the holder of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe and just putting out those high vibrations out there, clearing my energies, clearing my space. My protective vortex is up. Hey, Sebastian, thank you for joining me. Hey, Moray, what's happening? Hey, James, what's happening? Dustin, what's going on? Uh, oh my goodness, yeah, today was a beautiful day, and I don't go to bed till 4, and of course, I get all these goofy calls. By 10:30, so I go to bed at 4, and I start getting calls at 10:30, and I'm thinking it's something important, and I'm told the story, and I'm like, you could have told me this bullshit later. Everybody knows that I stay up till generally around 4. So if these motherfuckers ever tried to raid me, I'd be up like, what the fuck do you want? Because I'd be up. Do you watch NFL draft? What do you think? Hey, the one, yeah, Aggie Pride. Yeah, I watched the draft. I'm surprised that the young man that came out of this state, from North Dakota State, just doesn't really have the experience. Um, it's good what they say. They still got Jimmy G, and Jimmy G, we know is going to get hurt at some point. I like what the Vikings did. The Vikings got another offensive tackle, so they're going. It looks like they're sticking with Kirk Cousins. Um, I like the Eagles got Smith. That is a weapon because Jackson, they hurt Jackson on purpose and put Jackson out for almost damn near the season. But if Jackson has a little left and with Smith and putting Smith in that slot, I don't know. Smith might play some X. I would just keep him in the slot just because the type of matchups he'd be under. Where if he went to X or Y, he would be head up with DBs and in some cases bigger players. Keep him in the slot, even though he would be against bigger players, linebackers more than likely, and safeties. I think it would be better for him to maneuver with his quickness being put. Like Jackson is more of an X, and he's a little dude too, but he has a little more experience. But so I thought that was a good choice for them. You see how they set this thing up for Belichick to get another Brady though. It's like, look at this here. Look at this here. So that shows you right there that it's fixed. You know, that really shows you that it's fixed because all of a sudden New England, which did have a crappy season, we all will admit, but they get a top quarterback. Uh, that shows you some funny stuff right there. So yeah, he played one game for the young fella from North Dakota. Yeah, he got potential. Yeah, the one he does, but and the guy is from here, and this is not really a football state. Not really, not really. Um, just he hasn't had a lot of experience with reading defenses. But as I was saying, with getting him going to a place where Jimmy G's going to be the primary quarterback at first is going to be helpful for him. He's going to be able to watch a pro, and they still owe Jimmy G a shitload of money. He's getting about 20 plus a season. So I think he's pretty secure. He's gonna be on that bread regardless. So I think it's a good pick, for a guy that is a mobile Jimmy G, maybe a little stronger arm. That's what I would say. And he does look a lot like Patty Mahomes. He does, far as maybe even more mobile, maybe quicker. So we'll see. But Jimmy gotta stay healthy. Jimmy can't stay healthy. Jimmy just can't. Some dudes are injury prone. Oh, and no commercial tonight. I'm drinking sugar water. So pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. Because it's going to be in the 80s this weekend, and I'm going to be drinking a lot. So I said, let's take tonight off. So, I think it's a good fit for them. It's a good fit. But I think the steal was with New England getting Jones. Jones could probably step in and play. Now, what I was going to say about the young man from here is reading defenses in the NFL is a lot quicker. He did not have a lot of experience at the college level of reading defenses. And it's a difference between reading defenses, looking at film and breaking film down compared to the live action coming to you. But let's tell the whole story. Football has turned into 7-on-7. And 7-on-7 can give you most looks with moving live towards you. And so he'll get a lot of that practice. Speed of the defensive players, defense maneuvers, trick defenses, that's where he's going to have problems because they're going to line up a certain way and then they're going to start moving around and you don't know who's coming from anywhere unless you really see it. So that would be my only thing. But hey, PJ, thank you for joining me. Cam better watch out. Oh yeah, Antoine, what's happening? Yeah. I would say now he's the difference. Going to New England, this dude, he's had plenty of game, plenty of experience breaking down top level teams. So I would say with him, Cam might be in trouble. Cam really might be in trouble. I'd like to see Cam come here. They could use Cam here. He would really fit well here. But again, they didn't, they gave Cousins a bunch of bread again. But I think Cam would fit here. But it's rookie quarterbacks again do struggle in most cases. Again, Joe Burrow was hurt on purpose. I don't know what lesson he didn't learn, but they hurt that boy on purpose. So you can come in and play and play well. Remember, Sam Darnold did his first play was a pick six. Remember that. It was a Joe Namath kind of ritual because Joe Namath is, even though Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame, he's the all-time leader in pick sixes, which he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame for winning one Super Bowl. That was fixed. He was hurt most of his career. Hey, Trill. Hey, what's happening? What do you think about the new Arizona coach, Trill? Hey, Crazy SARS. That was wild what you showed me. Man, that was wild. Uh, that's outstanding. That is smooth. Let's start off with let's see where the money is today. Let's see where the money is. I'm sorry I was late, but see over. If you're interested in any kind of text, putting any kind of show together, you got to watch his stuff. I mean, he's putting some of the best information out there of how to set all this up and make it look more professional. And again, it ain't always got to look professional because as I gave him a comment. This dude sitting in the car knocking down 1 million subs, which shows the simplicity of people's minds. And again, it's really not the equipment, but at some point you start getting this bread, you should make your presentation look better. That's the point. And sitting in a car is your whole channel. That's that. After a while, to me, that would get boring, and that would get boring to me, as far as watching somebody every day. But I saw that Bitcoin held. I saw Bitcoin held. I did not catch. I caught silver. Let me see. 1,700 down 11, down $11, and this is Monex. So gold was down 11. Um, Silver dropped down 17 cents because silver was over. Yeah, silver was over 27 cents. So yeah, silver took a slight hit too. I did not. And then the general stocks Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Actually, today was a good day for all of them. Looking at all of them. Yeah, Bitcoin was up 2%, 1,300 bucks in 12 hours, 54. Ethereum, 2,700 bucks, up 1%, up 35 bucks. Binance is up, was up 20 bucks, 29 bucks. And then you had Dogcoin is up almost 20, up 70.71%. Again, it's kind of unchanged at 28%. So Litecoin is 261, up $10. So Bitcoin Cash is up $27 at 89. And no, I'm not going to buy any Gators right now. Oh, I lied. Oh shit, this goes all the way. Dash, Holo. Oh fuck. I never knew it. This got all of them. Reserve rights, Digibyte, Scale Network, Diego Finance, Auto, Elarn eGold, Basic Attention Token, Thorchain. I didn't realize it had all this. A lot of these don't have any banks though. But like Icon is trading at $2.52. It went up 12%, went up 29 cents. So really not bad. Harmony. So Harmony is still in here. 1 inch. So YFI is up two grand. So it's up 48 grand. Wow. It's up 48 grand. So that's where it's at. And I did not catch Ford today. What did Ford close at today? Fuck. God damn. So from a high 12 bucks. So it got to 11.50 and it's at 11.26. So it took another dive, a dollar dive. But his projection ain't looking good after going up to high of 12. Let me see what GM. What did General Motors close at? Even General Motors was down after General Motors being high of 58. Well, it closed at 56. 56, 57, down $1.98. So actually your money is kind of steady here. And even the projections is steady. So and you ain't putting out a lot of bread. Toyota closed down. So Toyota's 152. It closed 61% down. Honda closed. Again, Honda shares not that expensive. The most expensive share, if you do fuck with cars, would be Toyota. Tesla, well, no, Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's a 677. And Kia's not transferred over, but Kia was down. I don't. This doesn't show Kia's So those of you who have any Tesla stocks, Tesla's all around the board. Let me see what did the dollar close at today? Dollar index. Okay, now this is what I be trying to tell people why stuff costs 99 cents. Get out of here. The dollar closed. The dollar closed at $90 cents. 90 cents. The dollar closed at 90 cents. That is why everything has went down to 99 cents. Because a lot of times the dollar ain't worth a whole dollar. You understand? It's not worth a whole dollar. And so we're trading off that 90 cents. If you understand. Does this do the comparisons? This don't really do the comparisons. And those who follow everything, the Dow was up 17%. It didn't change from 239. The NASDAQ is up $31. S&P actually went up $28. And then the thing that lost was Russell 2000 index. You know, some people play the numbers off the stock exchange. That's an old way to play the numbers. They thought they couldn't cheat that, and they can. But that just shows, you know, your dollar is not worth a dollar. Here we go. Now, Canada, compared to Canada. So, yeah, compared to Canada, Canadians' money is only worth 80 cents. Really, that's kind of up. Sometimes it's below. Australia is the place to go. Our money's really worth. But right now, Canada is pretty much closed. So, what did I miss? I can't call it. Lansing GM plant is on pause and might get shut down. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that they a lot of them is the superconductors are stopping the vehicles from being built. But I wonder if where the old Lincoln plant is still open. That's outside of Detroit too. The overall trend in the market historically is upwards. The next crash, I think, will be when the apocalypse hits. Moray, right on. What's happening, Moray? GM will be making electric cars in Mexico. I don't understand why these car companies just can't run things in-house from here in the States. Cheap labor, no unions. You know, Reagan and other presidents let them union bust. And that's it. That's it. Cheaper, you know, outsourcing was a buzzword. There was commercials and shit about outsourcing. So that was a buzzword, giving jobs away. And then they want to attack the unions. You know, they want to say that the unions is the reason that, you know, all the companies left Michigan. I've said this before. You leave in Michigan, the government should have stepped in and said, okay, well, we're going to tax the fuck out you if you plan on leaving Michigan and taking all these jobs away. Because unions weren't totally bad. Again, I worked for the police union and the union wasn't shit. The union literally wasn't shit. So I've worked for fucked up unions and I've worked for good unions. So GM would be making, we make the dirt diesel engine for GM. Okay. Wow. Okay. Duramax diesel engines. Hey, Oberstan Mocha. Thank you for joining me. So that's something that crushed Michigan. A lot of jobs. Like I've said, my personal experience. I'm thinking going like after my freshman year of college, I think I'm gonna be an intern at General Motors in Kalamazoo at Fisher Body. No, they had cut out the program. I was crushed. I literally was crushed. I was gonna make close to $20+ an hour in '79. End up having to work for a fucking park. I think I made three something. I was barely making $100 a week. Barely, if was making. I was working 40 hours. I was barely making $100 a week. I was probably making $80, $90 a week. When I anticipated making some big real bread to get me a car. And my stepmother's family owned an orchard. Her father said I could come down there and work. My father was funny towards me, would never take me down there. I guess he figured I would take weed down there and smoke weed in their house or some shit. I don't fucking know. But I remember him My stepmother's father literally telling me, he's like, yeah, you come down here and work. By the time you get done in the summer, you have enough money to get a car. That never happened. My younger brothers, her natural children did. I didn't get a chance. But that's how it goes. The only car stocks worth buying are IMO, are Neo, and Tesla. I'm still fucking with Ford because this new Mustang is going to do well. It's matching up well, and that might be the thing. That might be the thing, and it might not be this year or next year, but I'm gonna hang with Ford. I'm definitely gonna hang with it. It went up to 16 at one point, and it's dropped down. So, but I'm still gonna hang in there with it. I think that new car, the Navigator now, the new Navigator is about to come out too. And yes, there is a pause because of the semiconductors that they're claiming that can't be used. But it's funny, if you look at the numbers, you look at the fucking numbers, it's just amazing. So last night we talked a lot about this plan stuff, the plunge and shit. And I don't know, you could just tell. I remember before they killed my other channel, they was like, well, this content is not getting, a lot of, they'd send little hints, maybe, because they would love for me to just come and talk about sports and crystals. They really would. But this other shit, they don't want you to talk about. They want you to leave it alone. It's like, yeah, don't talk about that too much. But it's no thing to me. It really ain't. It's no thing. What did they say in the movie? Don't mean nothing, not a thing. I ain't shook. You just as a man, you don't make excuses. You say, okay, it's like when you play poker. This is the hand I'm dealt, and fuck, I must be a man and face this shit. I'm gonna take it in the chin. So, okay. So that's all you can do. You can't say why me. You just take it on the chin and say, okay, I'm gonna keep moving. Tell you what I've been fascinated is I love. Well, let me see what everybody's saying. The only keep fighting the great fight ain't win, and we are behind you. Well, I appreciate that. I do. I do appreciate the people that rock with me. Couldn't watch. Like I mentioned, I just got off of C. Hova's channel. I was watching him and kind of getting ready at the same time and listening to him. He has some pretty good stuff. And then I saw my man PNF came on, which again, a brilliant researcher. And so, I meant to tune in him for just a minute to give him a like, but I'll watch it later, definitely, because I support the people that support me, especially the other content creators. Jeffrey said he wanted to come on another night. So again, I want to tell everybody, the Awakened one will be on tomorrow night. My friend Danita, she didn't get back with me, but I know Danita had a Zoom meeting and it probably went a little late for her, so that's okay. She'll check in with me. I've got another person from the Bay Area in California that's hopefully going to join me Saturday. She's fighting the good fight, and not to tell too much of her story and let her tell it, but she might come on Saturday. Jeffrey said he's going to come on another day too. So one thing I'll say that Jeffrey put up, what do y'all think about them taking menthol cigarettes? Now, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I brought up a story about a cigarette that Lorillard did, even though Lorillard made Newports. Lorillard tried to bring a cigarette to market in, let me get this right, 82, I want to say, 82 or 83. And this is the marketing they did. Because a lot of folks, a lot of black folks will take the cigarettes and they'll pound it to kind of pack the cigarettes. They'll get it to try to make the cigarette a little tighter. But there was an instance where a lot of black folks just pulled their cigarettes from the bottom. They would pack it, and then instead of opening the cigarettes from the top carton, they would open it from the bottom. So they made these cigarettes that did that already. They flipped the way they opened up. So the top was really the bottom where you could open them up like that. And menthol, and the government said these is gonna be aimed right at niggas, and we taking that shit. The government didn't let them do it. And this was to the point where they was already billboards and shit showing. It was uptown. It was like the colors was a type of black and gold, and the government stepped in. And I don't think it was the feds. I think it was North Carolina government stepped in and said, "Nah, these is aimed at black folks." So, we as melanated people of America are tied to tobacco. Like one thing, if you look at natives, most natives smoke. Like all my natives, well, my neighbors over here left, but even my friend over there, and a lot of the natives are bad off of crystal meth. But a lot of them are, a lot of them have these addictions, but they really have addictions to, well, tobacco is just something that's in us. I mean, tobacco has so many healing properties, but the only way we're taught to use it is through cigarettes. And so something that we're naturally drawn to kills us. The numbers were staggering. They said that if enough black folks quit smoking, it would save something like 200 and some thousand lives. And we are what, 12, 15 million in this country, and that's a lot, you know. And that was a part of genocide as well, because what people found out is even though Cools, I think Cools was menthol, but Cools was stronger. Because when I was a child, like even if you watch Fred Hampton, most of them cats smoke Cools. But I've heard people say that they're a little too strong. So, Jet Magazine with the Newport ads. Oh yeah, keep your not only Jet Magazine. Remember the Camel. The Camel was everywhere, and if you had so many points, you could order Camel shit. Remember the little Camel mug? And the camel was nothing but a phallus face, but they said that the camel character was selling cigarettes. So they banned the camel character. But see, the cigarette company was smart. They said, okay, hit us with this $1 billion now. And they put a thing, then you can never hit us again. And part of the $1 billion is making the non-smoking ads. They do the non-smoking ads. But this year they also did a competition and they did the vape. The same people that do the non-smoking ads, cigarette companies, this year did an anti-vaping commercial. It was made by the same fund that they were forced to do every year. They're forced to show so much shit that says you shouldn't smoke. But again, America they don't care about American smokers anymore. They got the rest of the world smoking. Like when you show that thing of when I showed the thing, and it was on my other channel, but if you look at Vietnam, most cats smoked all white cigarettes in Vietnam. So when you see the general that has the shaved off handle that kills one of the Viet Cong that killed some of his men, when he just walks up to him and offs him, at first he lights up an all white cigarette because that's American as you can get. You even see in World War II the Germans, searching American dead bodies to try to find American cigarettes. So the world smokes. As I was saying, I used to work with these German motherfuckers nonstop. Luckily, when you work with my robot, CMM, coordinate measuring machines, the room has to be a certain temperature. And you could always see, like the ceiling in my room was where the robot was I bet 20 feet high. I mean, this ceiling was really high. And luckily, all the cigarette smoke would go up there, but you would see like a 2-3 foot ring of smoke from these fucking Germans. I mean, these motherfuckers. But I'll tell you one thing I saw a German that didn't really ever come here. This was been 99, 2000. Really was, I mean, this is all I got to show you, but he had a phone about this little. And it's probably skinnier than this. And the motherfucker would talk. He would have to talk like this, and he would listen, and he would talk, and it was kind of funny looking at it. But it was one of the first tiny phones I'd ever saw. But it was from Germany. He had a German phone, and it was slightly smaller than this. And this was 99. Shit, So their technology was a little better. I still didn't understand why he wanted this shit. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. The phone was so little. So. But so I see that as a good thing that conservatives are doing. I mean, they gave the brother from I'll tell you what though, what they did last night, putting that senator from South Carolina. Don't be surprised he run against Uncle Imbecile. He got a lot of juice behind him. They didn't put him front and center, and his ratings did better than Slow Joe. Slow or falling up the stairs Joe's numbers was like one of the worst ever. He did one of the worst numbers ever for holding the Nielsen ratings. Whereas that Tim dude, I mean, everybody said Tim won. He did the better job. Slow Joe, whoever the actor they got in that suit, he was like, when I was president, no vice president, he didn't know what he used to be. He was just something. And you know, it's like people ask me, I still don't. There's like, well, why did you support Uncle Imbecile? I'm like, how many niggas did Uncle Imbecile put in prison? I want anybody to answer that question. How many niggas did Uncle Imbecile put in prison? None. And you got this other side, Sister Girl, thousands, probably tens of thousands in California that she was personally responsible to get in prison. And I know Super Sly Help was saying that, you know, dudes wasn't working for free on the fire thing. I mean, they were getting a little compensation. And Super Sly even said that you could have the opportunity to join the force once you got out. So I see that. But in other cases, keeping the motherfuckers in there when they should have been released. And so, and Slow Joe said, it doesn't matter that you're poor. It doesn't matter that you're hungry. Doesn't matter your circumstances. Lock the son of a bitches up. The super predators. And that's what the Clintons was screaming. The super predators. Never made a bill that said quit fucking with black folks. But you make a bill on people that ain't being attacked. So go show it. Um, uh, Better to go back to mouth cancer than to go with velo. I remember someone saying rub a tobacco leaf on a bee sting. Tobacco actually has health benefits when used properly. Absolutely. I mean, that's how it was used in the Americas. That's how the people on the East Coast, where it grew mostly on the East Coast. That's how they used it as a medicine. Yep. Smoking really bad, as they say. I used to smoke 3 cigars a day and I never had any issues, but I never inhaled. Well, as I was saying with that man that was 112 years old, and he smoked up to 5 a day, and he lived to be 112 years old, lived through World War II. So if you don't take any fear and don't think this shit can bother you, and know that it can't bother you, because it's all an illusion, but you know that it can't. You know, they motherfuckers smoke their whole lives. But like I noticed, it was a dude in the 80s that was 100 and some years old. And that motherfucker was the same way. That motherfucker said he drank whiskey every day, but he smoked cigars too. So, so if you don't take any fear in it, it wouldn't harm you. But it is so many chemicals in cigarettes. And I've told the story before of going to not Lorillard. I didn't go to the Lorillard factory as a child. I went to the factory in Winston-Salem that made Winston's. Yeah, they made Winston and Salem's. And back then, my mother and father, my stepfather smoked Winston's, my mother smoked Salem's, which again was an all white cigarette. Uh, and I remember they gave them cartons. When my father and his girlfriend, we went in, they gave them cartons. And then I remember was leaving and I was like, well, I wanted my stepdad smoked Winston's. Can I get one from this reject pile? Because they had rejects, you know, if the writing's off or something on the packaging, they had reject pile. They just redo them and send them back. And they gave me 3 or 4. And I was in 5th grade. They just sit there and handed me 3 or 4 packs of cigarettes. I thought that shit was funny. Do you get paid right after the draft? James, since we are in the NFL year, yes. They will get their bonus money tomorrow. They will fly into the towns tonight or tomorrow. Most of them are going to be on flights tonight, flying into town. And by I would say noon, whatever time they're at, they'll sign and get their bonus checks. Yep, they will get their bonus checks tomorrow. And so, like with the number 1 overall pick, he'll get roughly about 30 million tomorrow. But you know, and this means it's a 5-year agreement with the team option for the 5th year, and then they can fucking slap you with 2 more years of franchise. That's why NFL's fucked up. The contracts are fucked up because they can keep you for 5 years when we know the average NFL career is 2.5 years. But yeah, so the top pick will get roughly about 30. I think Baker got 32. So I think in this, and I don't remember what Burrow got, but it had to be 33 to 35. And so yeah, the young man from Clemson would be getting 30 some million. Most of these top picks is going to get more than 10 million. So most of the top picks is going to get 10 to 15, 20 million, depending on, you know, the first 15 picks going to get a little money, but all the top first round picks is going to get more money than the second, third round picks. So yeah, they get paid tomorrow. Yep. Because we are under, the season. That's why you've been seeing the trades. The season started in March. So yes. But yet, Slow Joe won the vote. Yes, he did. He did win the vote, and a lot of black folks stomped for him. A lot of black folks in Atlanta helped push him over, where one is tied and the other they got a slight lead. Trump's a white nigga. Hey, YT, thank you. I enjoy smoking an eighth of marijuana a day. Every day I go through an ounce every week. Let me tell you, since I done switched to crumble and wax, I bought this crumble. What we in April? I bought the crumble February. I bought I bought a gram, and then I bought 2 more grams. So I've had that crumble since February. The splatter, shit, I bought three, maybe 4 grams, and I've still got a gram left of splatter. And so this shit lasts forever. That's what I like about it. I'm gonna try to see if I can go get the bubbler. There's a bubbler for this thing because it's harsh. I'm not gonna lie, it's harsh. I bought a rig too. I'm gonna start working with a rig a little bit, but I don't know. My daughter here and having that shit is so much easier. So if I can get a bubbler for that thing, that would be great. That would be great. Don't forget, if you get caught the Marlboro truck, you could get a free carton using points. Well, I've said this before. In Greensboro, we had a Newport van that handed out the 10 cigarette packs. The pack looked like a candy cigarette pack. It was about this big, but it had 10 cigarettes in it. And that was there every day during decent weather. If we had decent weather, you would see that van there every day. When I played football in college was the first time I saw athletes that smoked cigarettes. Now, none of the hoopers I knew, they smoked weed, but none of them smoked cigarettes. I had 3 or 4 teammates, maybe even more, that smoked, and that tripped me out. Like, we would do all this hard running and conditioning. We would fucking get done. These motherfuckers, walk into the cafeteria. These motherfuckers light up a cigarette and shit. I was like, damn, how can you do that to yourself? Young guys. So, hey, Anise, thank you for joining me. I need a pocket bubbler. Yeah, I need a bubbler, and I saw one and didn't know what it was, and I wish I'd have bought it because a lot of places online is out of them. So hopefully they can get me one. Splatter, I'm ready to go stop blunts. What are those called that you smoke out of? This is called the Evolve Plus. It's called the Evolve Plus, but you can, I think is the name of the company, but it's Evolve Plus, about 35 to 40 bucks. It's the extra large. This came out, I think, in 2000. And the cool thing is you can keep shit in here, and that's, it won't, you just want to freeze that stuff because it's hard, to work with when you don't freeze it. And then you just got the battery, and the chamber is pretty self-sufficient. It's got 4 coils in there, so it heats it up. I mean, this stuff runs up because you're blowing up, so it runs up the walls and shit. But long as there's some in there, pretty much. I mean, I sit here and get high at home, then I go out in public. I'm like, there's something different from me to them. But yeah, so I need the bubbler app too. Puffco, it's an electronic bone. Yeah, that one I saw. And then there's another one that's about 200 that's all in one kind of rig as well. I think like there's a handheld one that's 250, but the thing is it's made of silicone. And so you sucking in that silicone, and it comes with a bubbler, but it's 250, and it's a smaller tray than this one. It's smaller than this one for 200 bucks, the loading tray. Ghost was a good company, but they went out of business. Probably hard to get replacement parts, but it looked like it had a lot of potential. But again, it had a small tray. So my pen I bought, I forget the brand, Puff, I think. No, you said Puffco? I forget, but that motherfucker lasts me about 3 weeks, and it wouldn't charge anymore. And I remember reading a review, motherfucker said the shit wouldn't charge. It wasn't as harsh as this, and it took less. It had an all ceramic bowl, but it cost $100, and for $100 for a couple weeks, this like buying, they do for the fucking cigarette shit, the e-cig shit, where this motherfucker for $100, you expect it to last. Like I've had this one for a couple months. So, and I had one before this. And let me say, the only reason I had to buy this one was because I dropped this part down the drain. I was cleaning it and dropped that part down the drain, so I had to go buy another one. 'Cause I got a purple one like this. The purple one is the battery's good, and everything. So if this one ever dies, I'll just switch over to the other one. But I definitely want to get the bubbler because it's harsh. That's why I suck on these cigars because it's harsh on your throat. Electric bond. Well, yeah, I saw the puffer coal. Oh, okay, no problem. I do it almost every day after work. I do it every day. Like the boy who should have made a lot of money, 24/7, 365. That young man that was an early crackhead should have made money. Somebody should have got with him and said, look, they're gonna be using this shit. And here we are 40 years later and still say 24/7, which he made that up. I never heard a person say that before. I heard that young boy that how they do it. They bought him some crack, and it's like, well, do you get high? Yeah, I do get high. He was only about 14, and they go and give you money and like, we want to see you do crack. That's how these news agencies would do you. Like they'll buy you the heroin and be filming you shooting heroin and shit. And that's some shit to watch some person shoot heroin, and it almost hits them like almost instantly. And then my roommate that was a Vietnam vet used to fucking speedball. And his girl would be giving him a blowjob while he's doing the speedball, and then he would eat her out while she's doing it. That shit was like, it was amazing. I don't know. And then these motherfuckers would get it gives you because heroin will give you the nod. I mean, it would give you the great dream. But Sherlock Holmes was in his stories. He's a fucking cocaine addict. So it's been in popular culture. Can I for which I should can I do an opinion poll for which item I should mail tomorrow? Yes, absolutely. Crazy Sarge he wants an opinion on the energy of he's working with metals. He's being an alchemist. He's doing his own alchemy. So go ahead and throw out. I know you were saying, what is it? Copper? Was it copper? What were you going to melt tomorrow? Copper? You was wondering about copper. It was a couple because he showed me a bunch of aluminum, which is outstanding. He had nice little chunks. Some sex fiend. There you go. Oh yeah, they used to crack me up. No, Jeffrey's not coming on today. He said he has something come up, so he couldn't come on today. No, so we're gonna hold his information. 1 for copper and 2 for aluminum. I'm gonna vote in on this too. I'm going to say, I'm gonna give my vote. I'm going to give my vote. And so he's got 1 for copper and 2 for aluminum. Hey, Mr. Taylor. Hey, Uncle Edwin, filling the bucket hat. Who's on the shirt? This is, what are they called? DGK. And this is Jason, right? Jason Valaris. Jason, sitting on the caddy. I think that's Jason. Wasn't Jason with the mask, right? Michael Myers was Friday 13th. So yeah, this is Jason. Jason stacking some money. But GGK, and they make extra double X's. So, well, thank you. I'm put them hot wool hats up, sweating up my wool hats. My wool baseball had to be too damn hot. Oh, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 votes for copper. 4 votes for copper, however long you want to let it run. But 4 votes for copper. Oh, let me show you some shit. I've had this shit since 15. Let me show you this shit. And I hung this shirt up forever. This shirt was just hanging up, and I kept it on the hanger. Look how young this motherfucker. I've had this shirt. Look how young this motherfucker looks. Look at that shit. This is obviously Cleveland days, but look at all that shit. This shit smells good. God damn. I washed the shit out this shirt, but look at all this. They was even giving him then, and you think he ain't tradition, passion. But look how young he is. I've had this shirt for the summer of 14 or the summer of 15. And it's kind of cool because it's still dry fit, so it's quality shit, but it's just I've had it since then. Men, we don't keep clothes that long. Yes. So it looks like copper, Crazy Sarge, by the vote. Looks like people want you to see what you do with the copper. And I've said this before, the best copper in the world comes out of Michigan. They've got a mine in Michigan. It's been mined for 1 million years. They got a piece. I read a story about this piece. This is tons of copper and there's no way they can get it out. They can chip little pieces off it, but they can't get this big piece of copper out. It would cave in if they took it out. Most entertaining to watch. Young LeBron was the best LeBron. Oh, no doubt. I mean, when he turned out the Pistons with Chris Webber and Rasheed Wallace and Rip Hamilton, I mean, they let him loose. They let him loose, and he had 50 some on him on a good defensive team, good physical defensive team, and that was one of the few times they let him loose. But remember when he played Dallas, can't forget that the way he was just throwing it away and panicking and throwing it away. So. Okay, copper it is. 99% pure bars tomorrow. Got it. Send me a picture. Send me a picture. I want to see what the bars look like. But that's a true alchemy. That's true alchemy. But right on. And I mean, that's part of that's, yeah. That is part of being an alchemist, y'all. You get some things that you don't think people want. It's like, why do you think they want these cell phones? Like motherfuckers going around stealing the catalytic converters. It's money. Money if you break that shit down. It's like the real reason why people used to steal cars. Wasn't stupid ass New Jersey Drive. It was to part them out. That's at least why YBI took them, was to part them out. And like I said, I wasn't YBI, but my cousin was. And we had a thing where we walked around with the shirts buttoned up. So people wouldn't fuck with you. Wasn't with my cousin all the time. Thank you, Overstand. Thank you. Thank you. They got one with Jordan on it, and I don't know who the character is, but I forget every time I go in there. I forget to order it. But it's a Jordan character with a mask on, and he's sitting on, and he's showing the 3 or whatever times Jordan won. But it's a caricature of that, and I've got to see if I can find that one and order. I'm gonna have to order it because they don't appear to have gotten any more of these shirts. They got one with Felicia on there. It says "Bye Felicia." I tell you a cool one I saw, and maybe I mentioned this yesterday. The Mr. Rogers hoodie was kind of nice. It was crispy. I'll say that. It was very smooth. It was very smooth. But you know, but Mr. Rogers, he gave brothers chances on the shows. You know, he had Officer, whatever his name was, used to come by, one of the few brothers on TV. So Mr. Rogers, all right. I just don't know that I would look crispy wearing that shit. I don't think so. But nothing against Mr. Rogers, right on. So I'll see. I'll see. I'm trying to do something else this weekend. You know, trying to. I make a bunch of copper bars. I make my. Once I make a bunch of copper bars, I'll make my Nordic gold. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, you get a bunch of shit old cell phones. There's a bunch of gold you can get out of old cell phones. That's why companies are willing to take old cell phones. Give us your old flip cell phone. And like I told Ciova on his show, this is my working phone. I'm gonna get the glass fixed and I'm gonna get another stylus, but this is my working phone. I don't really use this phone for nothing but talking. I look at it trying to take pictures and shit. But this is just for basically talking. I mean, the only thing I got on this phone is YouTube. That's it. Other than that, it's just the normal bullshit. I'm not putting nothing else. Oh, I got my Cash App too, but I'm not putting nothing else on this motherfucker. That's all I'm putting on there. So when I'm somewhere, I can't look at all that other shit. You know, and I do got my books on this one, but this is my working phone. This is definitely my working phone, and it's easier. It seems easier to me to fuck with this phone than it does the other one. Seems like the iPhone shit is just harder to work with. Really does. Smooth. Very smooth. So as you know, I'm not leaning left or right of how the politics goes. iPhone is a CIA ran. Let me tell you something that Cova said that I didn't even take in. I didn't even take CIA's is CIA iPhone is CIA ran. Yeah, I think all of them is though. Norad Gold is 89% copper, 5% aluminum, and 5% zinc, and 1% tin. Um, like I explained before, back in 17 when I had my other computer, I was doing this live, Facebook Live, and StreamYard all at the same time. I was doing them all, everyone was all at the same time. And I was always having issues with people hearing. People's like on Facebook couldn't hear me, even though people on YouTube and people on TalkShoe, all that was fine. But people on Facebook. So once I figured it all out, got all the bugs, so I'm streaming Facebook Live, YouTube, and StreamYard all at one time. And then I had somebody on. I think my brother was on or something. We was doing, a show, and all of a sudden the mic just died. And I've told this story before. The mic you couldn't even load a mic. I had to send the computer back to the company, and they had to send me a new computer. But Ciova was saying Facebook is CIA operated. And so that's how it was done. The CIA apparently didn't like something about me, but it makes a lot more sense of some shit that I've been peeping, that's been around. It's like, yeah, these motherfuckers know who I am. And that's good. And I don't fear them motherfuckers because nothing you can do to me. Because I know what this thing is. And it's nothing y'all can do to me. I've cried already. I've suffered already. So it's nothing else you can do to me. I know what this shit is. So it's interesting. I hadn't even thought of that. So poor little old me, and you put millions of dollars and send some shit that'll kill my mic. Okay. So something, I must be something to these motherfuckers. Do you think they collect data off of internet and YouTube? Well, I'm gonna bring this in. You see what they said about the Postal Service? They said the Postal Service has a wing that has been investigating motherfuckers. So if any of their workers, how to go on postal, is a thing. They trying to fire these motherfuckers and take away their pensions, and the motherfucker went back up, and the post office was popping them up. Y'all remember that going postal was a thing. Going postal was a motherfucker going in there, and they trying to take all them benefits from him, and he was shooting that shit up. That's what it was, a real thing. That was the first open shootings that we see that the demos push, was that. So I didn't know that the Postal Service got an arm of investigators. So if anybody talks any foul shit about the postal shit, they've been investigating these motherfuckers. They've been investigating people. So they've been looking at your data. But my question is, when they was burning that shit down in the south side of Minneapolis, where was your army? The motherfuckers was handing out packages. They knocked holes in the walls, and before they caught it on fire, they was handing out packages like Christmas. So where was y'all then? You got all this money you getting. Seemed like you'd have sent troops in or something to say, hey, protect our packages. And I'll say this. There are some people that get medication through the mail. But I found that interesting. I found that really interesting that our own postal service, that they saying is, bleeding for money, crying for money, got their own investigative service. And there's some shit. They got their own investigative arm. But yet these motherfuckers saying that, they're losing money the way that they're doing packages. So I was kind of like Uncle Imbecile was kind of hard on them, but I see why now. Like, y'all be on some bullshit. Yeah, it is obvious. Still, hell yeah. Like have a file on each one of us, And I admit it was motherfuckers, in the early 2000s that would vacuum seal weed and was sending it. It was once a lot of the routes was cut, and motherfuckers didn't want to risk coming from California, coming from Florida, all that weed. They were starting to send that shit. And you can send 20, 30 pounds through the mail at one time. Remember Robert Parrish from Boston? He had got busted with some weed coming to his crib. But I knew motherfuckers that, they would pay certain people little money and get 20 pounds sent to them. So if they got busted, they couldn't say it was them, but they had people that would do that for them. Which one? Which one went off? One of these motherfuckers went off. Fuck it. But I find that interesting. Motherfuckers crying for money and shit. I find that very interesting. They have their own cops. Yeah, they have their own cops. But again, where was their cops? Where was their cops? Because they sure wasn't going up in that postal place. And you have to applaud the young people of Minneapolis that came out and they destroyed that third precinct. You know, the day they were there, they was outnumbered. And and that's where the people have the numbers. If the people can just rock some motherfuckers and make them get off their square and burn their building, they took all their machine guns and shit, but a lot of them computers and a lot of that shit, they fired that building up. When the motherfuckers had their personal cars parked back in there, they rocking the hell out of them. Squad cars, they burned a couple squad cars. So you got to applaud people in South Minneapolis, or the young people in Minneapolis that had it, that really had it. Now these jurors been around these last couple days, and jurors saying, we wasn't scared of shit. Okay, that's cool. Now, should he have been convicted for what he went in? I think so. I think so. We're gonna see how much time he get. I'm still thinking he's only gonna get about as much time as they gave that African brother. And you see down in Kentucky, that chick that walked in the wrong house and fired her brother up, she's trying to get less time. The motherfucker that the judge is hugging her, the other people. I just think the other family was like, motherfucker had a chance to hug a European. Then the judge had to get in on it. I mean, was that Peyton Place? That's an old joke. A lot of people wouldn't remember what that shit is. The early soap opera. A movie and soap opera. Movie and soap opera. It was a movie first, and then the movie had a daily TV show called the same shit. Can I ask the pendant a question? They are not here. So why don't you wait till tomorrow and ask the awakened one? Because my pendants, my daughter must have put them in my bedroom. They are not here. So sorry. She's coming on tomorrow. Save your question, and she might give you a clear answer that I could give you tonight. Because I'm not going to get up and go to my room and get it. Sorry, I didn't know. I think my daughter took them in the room because normally, but I've got so much stuff. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 3 sets of cards on this table, and this is a pretty big table. And 6, 7 books. I have my medicine wheel, so it's shit all over. So maybe she was playing with them. I don't know, but she took them off. But yeah, ask her tomorrow. She'll be on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we are coming on slightly earlier for her. So look for me between 10 and 11. Yeah, just because she's down in Atlanta. So we'll be coming on a little earlier for her, so it won't be such a late night for her. They still have it filed on us. Can they make any of us a agent? If they pinch you, that's kind of the way they do it. If they pinch you, they make you an agent. You get pinched, and that's the first thing they say. Plea. I was watching a thing on Frank Nettie, and they was like, Frank Nettie had this motherfucker in California, and they was kind of running the movie business. And the syndicate was running the movie business, or the outfit, whatever you want to call it, out of Chicago, holding the unions, the actors guilds, the actor guild to do all that work in Hollywood, the grips and all that shit. And the dude who got pinched didn't give up Nitty, but he took a deal, and he gave some courts some evidence, and they thought they was gonna get Nitty in the main. So this, I guess they go in to arrest Nitty, and this dude just unloads a 45-3 in Nitty's back, and then the cop shoots his own self, and another cop said that's what happened. And so they got that cop and killed him, so he couldn't testify because he's about to put Nitty in prison for life. And then they want to tell you that Nitty killed himself. Well, Nitty was dying of cancer. They want to say, well, Nitty, yeah, killed himself because they found him in the railroad with a shot in his head. But you know how the mafia works. Well, no, not the mafia. Excuse me, Costa Nostra, the syndicate, American syndicate. Because to me, being a mafia, you got to be Sicilian. So yeah, anybody can be an agent. I mean, that's what they'll do. They'll bust a motherfucker and then get him to go to the dope houses. And then when they raid the houses, if you got the money, So that's why the smart people was when new people came in, if somebody brought them in, you got the money, got rid of the money as soon as possible. You took that whatever they bought, and you had somebody taking that money right out the house because you didn't trust it. They raid and they catch your money, they got you. That's why I always had, acid drops. I had acid. And that's why you just throw everything in the acid. And I never got busted, never got caught. None of it. Oh, it's my cat sneezing. But even when, like in Kalamazoo, when it got overloaded, and I told dudes, have these little buckets of acid and just drop this shit in there. My friend that swallowed an ounce of fucking cocaine that killed him. I told him the same shit. Like, if you selling out your fucking house, have a bucket of acid. They come in, instead of swallowing a whole thing of powder cocaine, just throw that shit in the goddamn bucket. And he listened to me. That is how they clone us. We build it ourselves by our input into our devices, which is stored in the heavily guarded facilities. Hey, Jesse Lynn, glad to see you. Is breathenism real or lie? You have to explain that. Breathalism. I don't know. I don't know. You've got me with a new term. Oh, there it was. No. Let's see what that brings up. Oh, okay. Here we go. Guess it's some YouTube power breath, respirators, revolutionary breathing. Oh, this does this shit go into Oh, this is some bullshit here. The idea is to slow down your breathing and inhale some extra CO2 with every breath. What this device does not necessarily do, but it's a very important technique. Um, this to me would make me think like when they had the oxygen bars. A few years ago, the oxygen bars was uh was kind of the thing. This is so much under weight loss. Let's see. Again, I think it's the same thing as the bars and shit, where you could go to the oxygen bars. Like the one divineness was saying. Let me see. It's supposedly there are certain monks who can do it. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. I get it. It's likely thoughts, but thoughts are stored like they can use or conscious against us. Supposedly there are certain monks who can do it. Well, that goes into yoga. Yoga believes in that. We're getting into the breath. Bomber gets deep into that, where he teaches to get into the trance state through the breath, and some people can do that, go into the trance state through the breath. My ex-wife, out of all the people I've ever been around that could trance, she can trance like that. I think that's why she's been spiritually attacked her whole life. But we sit and hold hands. I mean, it's been a while, but like she put the Virga in my consciousness. I could never bring it in, and she took it from one window and she gave it to me. Like, I was like, whoa, but she can trance like that. So, but if that's the way that can help you trance is through the breath. I mean, that's why she was saying, bring it in for an 8 count, release it for an 8 count, because a lot of times what you do is the it's like that comes on the release breath. Oh, like you'll take again, you want to breathe from your diaphragm, and when you release it, you're ooh, that kind of trying to get the perfect fit type of vibration. Yeah, don't bring your sneezing ass by me. Okay, thank you for taking the energy away. Um, I thought about that. You stored like they use our own consciousness against us, like thoughts, but thoughts that are stored so they can use our own consciousness against us. Well, that goes into the cloud. I mean, the cloud is a real thing the machine uses. The mind cannot take any chances. So every thought, every idea is in a real kind of cloud. Wes Paneri kind of shows you how you can uh, penetrate that, because that is in the ethers. That's a real thing. And I mean, I don't mean cloud storage for our computer. I mean where the mind puts all the thoughts, because every thought it has to know. It can't know, because Mu itself does not, or even the universe does not put the multiple dimensions. That comes from a machine. because the machine wants to control everything. So the machine puts the multi paths, and the machine will have multi use do the multi paths because that's how much control it has to have. But again, it has to know all the thoughts. So, okay, you are like super nasty. I'm about to kick you in your cat ass. Now, then you're gonna be, ah. So sitting here is not pet time, buddy. Go take a nap instead of messing with me. But so it's just depends on what can what can make you trans the best. Like I said, like with me, I have asthma, so um, I don't rely on the breath to trance. But others, it could if you can take those deep breaths and that helps you trance, work on it. Yeah, work on it. All this spiritual stuff is not just a like that. I mean, even um, like one thing, if you watch The Bewitched back when it came on in the 60s, if you ever watched the repeats, and sometimes they show you how witches have to learn too. It was like they go through with their daughter, Samantha or Tabitha. I think at one time there was a spin off of Tabitha being a witch. Sabrina, the teenage witch, is a spin off of Tabitha, basically, that used to come on. That's from the Bewitched kind of series. They changed the name. Sabrina was a sister, so I think they took the sister's name, but the teenage witch, and then how the teenage witch was given a guide. Harry Potter did the same thing with the owls. It had a guide, had an animal guide. That's for Harry Potter. They had the owls. They had as their animal guides, and you had to learn. Magic is something to be learned. It's like you could twitch your nose and make the animals run around the workroom for babies and shit. So it's magic would have to be something learned. It wouldn't be something you necessarily could just manifest like that. It would still have to be a learned. The average, the average. And so yeah, that's that kind of thing. Because it takes a lifetime of spiritual practice. It really does. Like I was talking about Dynamo Jack, that just that's a lifetime of practice to create that. And even my own journey, since astro traveling in 81 or 82, it's just been, trying to figure it out to where I am today. And today I'm in a pretty good place. Today, got a lot of sun gazing in again. I take advantage of that. And again, the sun simulator, not the real sun again. But it's interesting. It's really interesting thing that when you gaze, even if they bring in the heavy clouds, the sun will still kind of push through. Like once you connect with the sun, even when the clouds go through, you can still see the sun. That's kind of an interesting, or the simulator. It appeared the simulator. But I'll tell you something that was really the bomb I did in my garage. Because again, I don't take my mask out, my blindfold. I don't take that out. But I just put my hand like over my face, and you talking about it put me instantly in a hallway, but it had like when Star Wars they take off and it's the colored landing pad, the launch pad has all those lights. That immediately came, but in blue. It was like because when I put the other hand, I was like, I like this better. But I just did this, and all of a sudden on the floor, the walls, the ceiling was all in a blue like a launch pad. But it instantly put me in the room, and I wasn't even trancing, but I was instantly in this room that looked like a launch pad from Star Wars. So it was kind of intense for a second. Hey, Mr. T Gaming, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. So yeah, that was kind of intense. And again, it's funny how you come upon these spiritual experience where it's not, to anybody else looks like a deep experience, but for what I experienced, I was like, it's like, oh yeah, this is nice. I got to start doing the charts again. I was like, this is nice. This is really nice. And so again, just practicing practicing. There's another, practicing. That's the thing is practicing. You like what Crazy Sarge is doing with his alchemy. You practice this stuff and to get to a point where you feel comfortable. I'm going to do a practice to see. I don't know. I'm going to talk to the ancestors tonight because another because bringing these cubes out the last couple of days really wants me to. I want to really see if I can put everybody in the 3D kind of or the the flat plane kind of thinking. Um, I don't know. I'm going to see. I'm going to see. Working with these cubes, it's a great way to kind of get into that kind of thinking. Uh, and as I've said before, Moo can turn into this. If she goes into a spot of the universe where it has to be this, yeah, she definitely can turn into that. Oh, and then the poles are shifting, which is they've shifted before. And I listened to one young lady, and I have to admit, the veils are thin. Anybody that knows that is why, and some of you people, some you people, some of you have mentioned this kind of thing, where you see slight dimensional bleed. uh, yeah, the veils are definitely thinning. I think the things that are going to come out and help mankind are getting quicker to release because I think that is why the Mai and these beasts that work for the Mai are getting so desperate and why they brought this in. They're going to try to put this in before this shit comes and wipes them out. Because if these poles shift and everything shifts, which we know the planet has done before, it might be the way of shaking away the machine. So it might be because again, Mu has to fight these motherfuckers. This is one thing I was thinking about. I wonder how much I wonder how much real space is used of Mu. Because if you watched Animal House, they smoking a joint and the dude was like, well, they say that a universe could be in our fingernail. And I really wonder on this simulation we live in, this illusion we live in, which has to be off of Mu. It has to be off of Mu. The mind needs Mu to build its simulation. It's on top of. So I wonder how much area it really needs. We see a whole world, but in the real thing, because that, like Crazy Sarge mentioned the other night when he was in the hallway, there is a blue reality when you break through this shit that it's like seeing the clear blue sky, but it'd be dark and you like when you break through, you see this blue reality that comes like a blue sunny day. So you get these glimpses to be with Mu. And so I think that is why we're seeing what we're seeing and why they went after America, because America has a lot of spiritual people. And we have a lot of spiritual people that pass this information on. It ain't like the monks that live, in Nepal and live up in the mountains. It's like we try to pass this information on to everyone. You look up in Salem where they murdered all them witches, and not Winston-Salem in North Carolina where they killed witches too, but Salem in Massachusetts, and now that's a business. They've made witchcraft into a business. They've taken the energy and saying, okay, since this is what we're marked with, we're going to turn it positive and make money off it. And you look up those trials, we have a little girl that got most of the people killed. A couple of them was trying to money grab too, or land grab. Ah, but I was thinking about buying some garnets. And let me see. There was one thing that was interesting about garnets. Let me find that again. Yeah, I got a garnet right here. Oh, here we go. Um, right here. Maybe I can reach the other one. I got a couple right here. Let me see if I can reach the other one. There it is. Um, okay, kind of same thing, yeah. I'm guessing it's called rhodolite garnet. And where is it? Let me go back another page. Here we go. So garnets have been around. The word garnet is derived from the Latin word granatum, which means pomegranate, a reference to the stone's similarity to a pomegranate seed. Garnets was used in the former Czech Republic far back as the Bronze Age. And in Kemet, more than 5,000 years ago, they were used in Samaria about 21,000 BC. Sweden, 1,000, and they were also popular in ancient Greek, Roman civilization, Aztec, and other Native American people use garnets and ornaments as well. According to the Talmud, the only light on Noah's Ark was provided by a large garnet. So, before I start reading the possibilities, this is a less polished one. I don't know if the light would do this one any justice. Because it's good, and I'll read it. Well, that's showing a little bit of light. And this was $2-3 from my crystal guy. But I haven't been able to find any more of these. He didn't have any more of these. And I got it from the same shop. Little cleaner. And this is what I carry. And rhodolite garnet. Let me see. Here we go. Combines the energy of the base chakra, heart chakra, and crown chakra, offering physical, emotional, and spiritual support. Its gentle energies activates one connection to inner guides and guardian angels, while they simultaneously put one in touch with the wordless voice of the heart's yearning. In this way, it creates an inner alignment that allows one to know clearly what steps to take on the spiritual path. Meanwhile, the grounded influence of rhodolite's connection with the base chakra assists one in making and keeping the inner commitment to make one forward on his path. Offers emotional healing, particularly in the area of guilt and shame. Natasha says, reflects the light of the heart, help one receive abundance on the emotional level. It encourages one to both receive and radiate the frequency of love. It assists in opening the heart to the energy of the divine love, but it also encourages expressions of love between people, from the simple kindness to compassion to love between people in a committed relationship. Rhodolite garnets elevates feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness. This may block one's ability to receive love in abundance. It can help one be more loving and considerate to oneself and others. It holds a frequency of comfort and succor and support. It's a wonderful ally to call upon when one is feeling unhappy, worthless, or unable to see one's way forward. This stone stimulates sense of self-worth, assists one in owning one's gift and abilities, sharing them with others. The increase in confidence is the direct result of rhodolite's loving reminder of one's worthiness in the eyes of the divine. It consists one to remember one's soul contact for this lifetime and completing the necessary steps to fulfill it. So again, this is Big Book of Stones by Robert Simmons. He owns Heaven and Earth. So if you're looking for stones, cheap stones, he does have that. He does have cheap stones. And this one is my energy of the South on my medicine wheel. Oops. I put all my skulls in my medicine wheel now. Well, thank you. So, what's happening? Thank you for joining me. When it comes to spiritual practices and personal journey, why do you think people return to organized religion? Is it familiarly or the structure? Well, what happens is when people like what we see a lot, and what in my own generation, a lot of crackheads. The only way they could get off crack is to be in the church. So they took one crutch and they used it the other, which is the church. The church is the crutch as well. So I saw that a lot. There's preachers that I know used to be crackheads and now they preachers. But what happens is you get conservative. So my generation was the generation that our parents was forced into religion. So like the hippies, and the hippies said, fuck your religion. We're going to make our own spirituality. We're going to be spiritual, not religious. And so My generation was one of the first generation that wasn't necessarily forced to go to church. It was kind of our parents was rebellion. So a lot of the baby boomers wasn't really raised up in the church like that. But what you see is as baby boomers got older, you get conservative, and that puts you right back in the church. And yeah, connections too. You know, it looks good in the neighborhood, wherever you live. But yeah, and I did miss another question. No, I didn't see Mr. Nobody yet. I watched a little bit of it. It's hard for me to, D still. It's hard for me to take him, being the equalizer. It's just hard. So that's Jesse. That is my answer. Is that's what happens? Is that people get conservative, so people return to organized religion because they get conservative. And I mean, different things speak to different people. It's hard to say, and it's it's not. I don't dump on organized religion. I don't understand how people want to study the Torah, which is the Old Testament. I was thinking about this yesterday too. I think that's one reason why they killed Reggie White, because Reggie White wanted to learn the Latin, because a lot of this stuff doesn't translate. It's just like Lucifer's name is not in the Bible in the Latin. It's a Babylon king's name. And I know Edward came in and said, well, they want to trick you. No, they didn't. It's in the Latin. The Latin says a Babylon king. Lucifer is American energy. It is not anything them Europeans fuck with. They found that shit when they asses came here. So that's what I see. Because I grew up with people that wasn't religious growing up, but I knew the people that was, we have a whole generation my age of baby boomers that was fucking crackheads. Remember that? And so again, a lot of them people substituted the crack. They substituted one crutch for another. AC over, to my man. You guys got it. Oh, I can't wait to tune in tomorrow so to see how that system works. Because I like to blend music. I really do. I like to, like, I would just sit here on this and just, I love the beginning of songs. Like when we used to mix when I back in the early 80s, we used to mix. That's what was a lot of the things, the breaks we did. We didn't really copy what the New York people did. We did a lot of the beginning of the songs or the breaks. Like one of my favorite mixes was doing the meters, because the meters would go, oh yeah. And I bring that, oh yeah, and just keep bringing the beginning. And so I like mixing like that. So a little machine like you showed, I get that thing. I can I can do a little mixing with it. So it would kind of, I think I would benefit and from everything else. So that's my man. Siova is my man. I'm just so happy that I found your channel. It should come on Sunday. Okay. When it comes, and I'm definitely, I'll watch some of the shows, and I'm gonna rewatch your video because to make this tight. That's what I like. What to make this tight. That's why I don't understand how people are satisfied with people that just sit in the cars. How are you satisfied with that? At some point, and it is all about the information, but you have to look at the presentation too. That has to be considered. Now I know the richest little motherfucker on YouTube is a little child that toys and shit, but watch them folks, them people. My daughter watches that shit, and them people upgrade their cameras and everything too. Just getting them money, building these houses, because they making millions a year off YouTube. They up their equipment, I noticed as well. So that's my man, Sissy Strut. That's right, the Sissy Strut. I want to get a mini mixer to play with, like the OP1. Okay, yeah. That's what I want to play with, old songs. But yeah, that's the Sissy Strut. I was doing like I was saying one time I was in Greensboro, and I had two techniques, and then I had two towers. That was the thing. I had two towers that would make the whole townhouse shake. And I'm mixing back and forth, and I'm not even paying attention. It's Saturday morning, so it's about 10 or 11, and I might have stayed up on. I don't even remember, but I was smoking weed and mixing, and I look out, and the children done put a damn breaking, little plastic down, and they're breaking and shit. And I had turned the music down, and they're like looking at the door, like, why'd you turn the music off? But that was my thing. And I got in, like I was saying, I was putting Jimi Hendrix stuff in there in mixes. Jimi Hendrix, I was putting Richard Pryor mixes where Richard Pryor was telling his jokes and shit. one thing that I really mixed a lot was George Clinton had a live show, and they go, say it ain't illegal yet," and then the crowd goes, "Say it." The crowd, it's call and response, and the crowd repeats the shit, and so I would put that in mixes. I remember my friend was riding with me, he was listening, and Richard Pryor, he does a crap scene, and you hear him rolling craps to music, like Maggot Brain or something like that, some funk. So I like playing with that. And so I think once she got older, what did he say? Call it crispy. There you go. The OP1 is worth getting though. I think you're right. People play with mediocre. They do. Once she got older. My mama's like that. She's year after year. She would consider a year after baby boomer 65. She didn't go to church until she got older. She's not religious nut, but when she got to the church once she got older. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's like my father. My father never went to church growing up because, again, my father's parents and my stepfather's parents were both Pentecostals. It was some of the same churches. And that Pentecostal is hard. Like I would go stay with my aunt and my grandmother on Sundays. We would be in church from 9, 10 in the morning till literally that evening. And we would go to churches in Benton Harbor. I mean, we would just, and I ran away from my aunt. I was like, yeah, enough of this. Because when I stayed with my grandmother, she would, she treated me like a young man. Not my aunt. My aunt would make me go to bed at 9 and make me go to church with her. But like my father, then when he got married and started having children, again, to do the social thing, he started going to church. And I think they went to the same church for a long time in Michigan. So, yep. So yeah. So that's what you see as people get older, you get conservative. Like you see people that don't be as wild, like they were once wild. You see them as they get older and then have children, and it's your own thing. My thing is, why are you studying the Old Testament? That's my part. It's like, why are you studying? And then the King James version is so switched to the original. The Latin is probably the best idea of some of that. But going to what ancestral production teaches, that the Torah comes from Africa and the Torah don't come from them. The Laughing Jesus points to that as well. That the Greeks, why do you think their early writings is a lot of that's in Latin? So, but African production shows where a lot of that work comes out of Africa, especially the Kemet stuff that's put in the Bible, because the Bible is even the Old Testament is a hodgepodge of stealing other people's stuff and putting it in. Zoroastrianism, which was hats come from, Zoroastrianisms. So, but I don't know. So it's just like because I'm gonna paint all this wall and I'm gonna get another desk or bring the desk out from the other room, move this table, and just get this better equipment, start getting the better equipment, and you're trying to make a little better presentation. That's all. You got to move with the times. This stuff is only going to expand more and more. So people turn to religion out of fear of hell. And you know how I answer that? I am hell. So hell don't want to deal with me. They don't want to deal with me. Because I'm a rain it down on them. Again, hell is cold. See, this is the other thing. Hell ain't hot. Hot is you feel good. Hell ain't hot. Hell is cold. It's like when they talk about going up in space. Why you think they don't really fuck with that cold in the North Pole? They don't like cold. Because cold is when these wizards was put up, and I even think when the Mir the Mai was put up, it was probably frozen up as well until they started bringing out, and these wizards came out and brought the guns back out, which was related to the all of a sudden. I mean, you have to look at Europe. All of a sudden, they come in with guns out of the Dark Ages. How they come in with guns? Well, that's wizard work. That's what wizards did. So I believe once the wizards started getting unfroze, that gave a lot of them an advantage because it wasn't the ships. When anybody says the technology of the ships is bullshit. We know that the northern route to go to Europe through Iceland, Greenland, they've been doing that forever. I even have doubts of Columbus coming across the Atlantic. I think all of them used the northern route because now modern ships have trouble going across the Atlantic. how the fuck them wooden ships? So, yeah, it would have been a lot for Columbus to go from Spain and coming all the way around, but at the time it was a safer known passage. So, uh, good ass point. Hell being cold. Oh yeah, Lorenzo. Hey Lorenzo, what's happening? I left religion last year, but deep down I still have a fear of hell. Okay, you shouldn't fear anything. I agree. A lot of that mixed with George sounds too cool, funk it up. Oh yeah, overstand. It is so much. Like funk is basically using a lot of the one. I mean, that's what George Clinton was his brilliancy when George Clinton got with Bootsy and Fred Wesley and them. You know, Fred Wesley was called the Horny Harms, and he put Parliament Funkadelic was basically two groups. Funkadelic was actually the older group, Maggot Brain, Cosmic Slop, all those. The guy playing California Dreamin'. Then you had later Kid Funkadelic. I can't think of the brother name, but Bernie Worrell. I mean, Flashlight is Bernie Worrell playing everything. So Bernie Worrell, this motherfucker, don't get his props, but that was one bad motherfucker. It was Bernie Worrell. You listen to Flashlight, you have to hear his brilliance. And then you look at the way he puts it, not just knee deep with Kid Funkadelic at the end. She's a big old freak. She's a big old freak. She's a freak of the week. When Michael Hampton has that single, that solo, doom, 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 and you got to get the extended version to hear that. Doom, 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 doom. I mean, he puts Jimi Hendrix into modern, the one dance music, basically. Who's That Lady with Ernie Isley does a little bit. Funkadelic did it better. I can't think of the guitar player that later did um, Eddie Hazel. I think that's his name, Eddie Hazel. Eddie Hazel, California Dreaming. Yeah, he plays California Dreaming. Eddie Hazel. Yeah, but Eddie Hazel is the original player of Maggot Brain. Oh, I remember playing my son hearing that in the car. I was taking him to football practice. He would get out the car. He's like, "Play that again. I want to hear that again." But Maggot Brain is some shit, just. Oh, that shit is Eddie Hazel. I'm pretty sure. Noticing your camera is clear. Well, I had to wipe it off yesterday. I don't know, but my daughter sits here on it most of the time. When my son is cheating on his game, on his Xbox, the new Xbox, he cheats. And so he can lock motherfuckers out. Maybe I shouldn't tell his business, but that's what he can do. And so he is between them. They use it more than I use it. And so they touch the camera. My daughter's sitting here and shit get all over, So again. So I love music, There we go. Tebow to Jacksonville. This is what doesn't make sense about Tebow. Tebow could have played tight end a long time ago. It was obvious that his people let him down and didn't teach him how to pass. They went on his size, and no one taught him how to pass. And so he had the opportunity to play tight end years ago. Now he's 30 years old. His baseball thing didn't pan out, even though he did play Double A and I think Triple A. But which he comes from a wealthy family. He was homeschooled. You got to remember that he was homeschooled. Uh, but yeah, he's going to try to play tight end down there with the ex-coach, right? He was with he won two national championships, I think, under Urban Myers. So, but yeah, I saw that he's going to try out for tight end. We'll see. And then the young man is going to Atlanta, one of the best tight ends to ever come out. Like I was saying, Smith going to the Eagles. It's another thing with that young tight end. I mean, like the Raiders tight end, it's hard to match up with these cats. You got these cats that's not the Shannon Sharp slow cats that can block but can get open. You got dudes that's the fastest DBs can't stay with. And linebackers definitely ain't going to stay with him. So this new guy going to Atlanta with Julio Jones still got a little bit left. A quarterback that can get him the ball. He's going to be in a lot of isolated situations. Like if you watch the Raiders with their tight end. Gruden puts him in a lot of isolated situations where he catches 6, 7, 8 balls a game. So this guy from Atlanta, that tight end from Florida, is going to change the game a little bit. So you have a more athletic, like what was his name? Jimmy played with Seattle for a while. Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was too big and too awkward, Herman Monster kind of dude, running routes. Never couldn't block. Big as he was, he really couldn't block. But he really wasn't getting down the field like that. He was slow and kind of cumbersome. In a nutshell, uncovering lies and why the lies. I don't need church when there's a direct connection to spirit. I saw a lot. Still learning that always, but peace and resiliency and ability and practice. I mean, your spiritual thing is something that is gonna when you land there about to go, you still seeing that there was something that you was still kind of can get and kind of can learn. And don't live in fear, especially fear of hell. I mean, that is nothing really to fear, because who's your you think your judge? I mean, what do they say the judge is? The judgment is your heart lighter than a feather? That is supposed to be the judgment. You know, is your heart lighter than a feather? What was your intentions? Everything you did, what was your intentions when you get weighed? So from that thing, to manifest without a church. There you go, overstand. A lot of guys' families already have money. Yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, it's backup and a starter. Everybody. But yeah, you're right. You can manifest without a church. Jumped. 49ers need to trade for a well-collected veteran, the quarterback for the future trade value. I think if they want it, they can get it with Jimmy G. But if everybody's healthy, uh, they're gonna be all right. They got a good team. He ain't going to a slouch team. Dude going to a good team. And as soon as Jimmy G gets hurt, which again, it's not throwing him right out there. A lot of people say, well, the another your nose. I got to get rid of that. With Jimmy G, when they bring in the young guy in and say putting him under fire so quickly, I don't know. I think still he needs reps, and preseason is not a good place to get reps because we saw Odell Beckham get his ankle destroyed in preseason where they went after him to send him a message. He ain't really been the same. He ain't been the same receiver since they destroyed his ankle in preseason, where the owners make money and not the players, because you're only getting per diem. You're not getting your contract to the first game. I mean, you get your roster bonus. Like guys will start getting their roster bonus if you was in March, what was it, the 12th, something like that, the first day of full football business. You got your roster bonus, but you won't start getting your salary until that first game. So preseason, you're still getting the preseason per diem. You're not getting the real money. The spiritual journey requires discipline. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because what happens is, say you're bringing in all this information, but you haven't had an aim. So if you don't have an aim, how are you moving up? Like I think I mentioned this. One of my dreams was showing me climbing up a ladder, and what that meant was there's still places I can get. There's still elevations I can still reach. So my brother and I was sitting there knocking ideas off of each other and stuff. He was bringing some stuff up to me, and he sent me some information that I had lost back in 17. Because when the thing about time crystals, I had lost it. I had wrote notes about it, and I'm looking for my notes. I can't find it. So I was happy to get this information back because it was one of the first articles in the modern times to talk about time crystals. Not going to church for me was the best thing ever because I want to have a direct relationship with God. No distractions, no foolishness, no BS. That's a good way to look at it too, because it's a personal thing. It's a personal thing. Not really a big Bible scholar, but if that's where your spirituality leads you, then live your truths, and nobody can't really I mean, however you connect to spirit, that's up to you. It really is. I'm not going yay or nay. I mean, living in the flat plane, if that connects you to spirit, that's okay. If the way you move around and flat plane is the way you move around best, then why not stay there? Why try to go back and forth? Stay there, live that, because that's what it's all about. Is each individual. So this is the thing when people try to say gods and stuff, which is really goods. It's a German word for good. King Good was a real dude. That's why I don't really like the word good or God, because that was a real person that you worshiping and not source. You're not really looking for source energy. You are giving your energy to that German person. Good was a person. So I kind of like to call it the source, and you can have an individual connection. Again, you have the source father, you have the source mother that appear to be in the center of the real universe, but then we live on a living thing. And so you want to have a connection with the thing we live on, which the oldest name is called Mu. It's older than Gia. The original name was Mu. Gia came later. Talamat came later. The first name was Mu. When they talk about the lost continents and stuff, that's what they're referring to, parts of Mu. This Critchwell did a whole thing, and he's kind of a kook, but that party's on. I use both spiritual and church for knowledge to see the fake so I can follow a truth as a good way. Odin. Yeah, Odin. Yeah, actually, I watched Different World earlier. Let me see. Bad first round pick by the Niners. They win an early prediction for next NFL season. Eagles. But I'll say they're going to put Belichick back in there too. They're going to put Belichick back in the Super Bowl next year. I'm pretty sure. I watched a Different World earlier today, and Whitney showed a picture of pre-Columbia Aztec, and it was melanated. It's on the fifth season. Wow, interesting. That's what you see. There's pictures of that being, and yeah, definitely the people were definitely melanated in America. There's no way to get it. Do I believe? Come on, D. Still, I do not believe in anything. I only know. It's a lot of different stories about Iniki and Inili. It ain't just one story, and a lot of work of the Anunnaki comes from Stinson, but you got others that read those Sumerian tablets because Stinson, I'll say this, he was able to buy a lot of them, but he used his imagination. Um, so there are others that just show them as just that was the deities there, just like Marduk. But you find Marduk in Babylon too. So um, you see a mixture because you have Ur and Samaria. So they come through that. And then if you get deeper into the Niki story, or whichever one, Niki or Neil, was putting out snares to catch animals so he could grill them or cook them, and he was finding the animals was gone, and apparently he put a video camera out there and he saw a haze like being. He saw a haze like being freeing the animals every night. And so, if you get into Wes Paneri's interpretation of all that Stincham's work, um, it's like what they said that Atlantis did. Atlanta was able to take the haze being that supposedly lived on Earth and putting them inside of a biological body. And that's where you get into a lot of Inanna and all that being able to make these blackheads. That comes from Stincham's work. So that shows you if Stinson was a Jewish faith person. Zachariah Stinson, I believe is how you say it. So look at all the work. Just don't look at his work though. Look at all the work. And if that really gets into you, to me, even better than Stinson works is Wes Paneri. If any of that Anunnaki, Neil, and Iniki work, of all Stinson's work, I think the easiest one to kind of get a feeling of all of it is the Lost Book of Iniki, instead of reading all the wars, all the books. I've read all the books, and that gave me the understanding of the mind in today's society, because they tell you from the very beginning, this is some shit that was brought here in a ship and was micro from the very beginning. But when they had wars, they had wars over because it was considered the civilization builder. And so Marduk apparently steals this thing, because we're talking about the grandchildren. Marduk was one of the grandchildren, and he stole it. And apparently they had one of them ultimate weapons that the first mug that lost Nubero, when he had to atom bomb his way supposedly through the crater, or the asteroid belt, was his way to come to America. And that's supposed to be his face on Mars as the one that discovered this country or this planet from them. And but they had this weapon, and there's a name for it. But this weapon is supposedly the thing that hit the Dead Sea. And more than likely, it's the same thing that hit when you get into the Verdas, the ultimate weapon, I think is what they call it. But you see in the Verdas, if you read the Verdas, where they talk about hitting each other with atom bombs and shit through ships. So Stincham's working that way. But Wes Paneri is a better read for modern people. He kind of gives you the whole story. Um, Stargate being into the Black Hills. Why the Black Hills? They put the Masons in the Black Hills was because at one time the Black Hills was almost like Lumeria. If you looked at anything of that once was with Lumeria, it would have been in the Black Hills where everything got along, where men could communicate with the trees, with the animals, with the giants, where there was harmony on Earth, and then that was the harmony was killed by a deluge. The harmony on Earth was killed on the deluge, not wickedness, the harmony. And so a lot of the giants that went underground, again, the tunnels existed before the Europeans came here. Again, they would go to kill natives or melanated people on the coast, and they would be able to disappear. Whole tribes would disappear. They couldn't figure out where they went, and they was going underground. Again, you look at gangs in New York. One of those first shots of the cutaways, they show the people living in rooms, but they show people who still living in the tunnels. And so a lot of it, when they went into New York City, a lot of that shit, when they made the subways, the tunnels was already dug out because people had been living into the tunnels. So they're saying that there's been tunnels that you could walk from one part of the country to the other. The tunnels were so deep and thorough, and that a lot of that goes into the giant work. You know, that's a again. Like I was saying with the copper, the giants are definitely tied into the copper mines in Michigan. When they look at those copper mines have been mined for millions of years. And they find Michigan copper in Kemet. So them giants was moving around the world too. So all these things saying that the Europeans is the only one that moved around the world, that's some bullshit. People always moved around, even trying to say Massa and his brother, and then they set up shit in America. Whereas people been in America too. Been the omen went everywhere. I know PNF was showing people with the bounded heads. Well, there was a reason they bound their heads to get out of this reptilian brain. They didn't just bound their heads in the back; they bound their heads in the back and the front. I meant to bring my omen um, things, which shows this, which shows the bound heads. So you have to study why they bound their heads and understand that. And that's how deep my studies is going, is understanding why they did it and the brilliance of what they're doing it. And when we get into Shangri-La, El Dorado, these golden cities that was able to lift up above them, and this just now trying to take that shit down. And that's what Lindar is. Lindar ain't for us. It ain't. It's for them trying to get up to try to take that stuff down. These other dimensions, but the veil is thinning. As I was saying, the veil is thinning. Let me do my divination. The truth is our own path. To follow another is to lose the truth. Although you can always find your own path or truth, even if you go astray. There's never that's a good point because like in church, if you mess up, they want to put you out to church. Like my cousin was Jehovah Witness. He messed around or something on his wife. I don't remember, but he was put out to church. So this motherfucker still had to go there, but he sat in the hallway while the people went to church. So he was so brainwashed where he would sit in the hallway because this was their way of saying you're not really part of the church because you did something. And then this motherfucker would sit there. Damn, if I'd have sat there, I'd be like, "What time you get off? All right, I'll be back." But that's what they want to do. If you make a mistake, they want to shame you to say that you went away from your spiritual path. The spiritual path is going to come with mistakes. That's just who we are. I mean, if you just walk and trip and fall, that's a mistake. I know that's simplistic. That's very simplistic, but it is that simple. Just because you strayed or you made a mistake doesn't mean you're not spiritual. No matter what kind of dirt you did, you can be still spiritual no matter what. Now, I'm not saying a mass murder motherfucker can still be spiritual because, again, you should have love in your heart. Love or above. I agree with the witch. Love or above. That's why listening to love music every day is it should be just like they want to give you pills. It should be a medication because there's nothing like R&B love music because it keeps you in that love thing. I listen to Jackie Wilson, To Be Loved. Okay, I'll give it out. I'll give it out. All right. Kundalini's moving. one of my previous lives, I must have been the Monkey King. It's just I've had experience of living in Brahma's tears, but the monkey god in India is not really the war monkey god. He's the god of love. So Asia has taken, the monkey god and used it in their own ways. But he's the god of love. So that's one part of it as well. So it's not just the monkey king fighting and having the staff that they can't defeat, but he's also about love. And he must have did something right because we was living in Brahma's tears, or I was living in Brahma's tears as it. So uh I hear you, love. Where am I at? Churches seem like oversized and very lavish altar rooms. That is it. I think the European came like at least 400 years ago into existence. Hard to say. Hard to say. We'd have to do a whole show on that. The God of the Abrahamic religion sounds like it's Marduk. The God is Marduk. What stumps me is why I first and literally forgot that our ancient history, something tragic must have happened, like a cataclysm. Uh, Oh, in a sense, your relationship with God is personal. No one can tell you how to have that relationship with the Creator. Just saying, it is. It's a very personal thing. That's why I was saying, no matter how much mistakes you make, um, you don't have to be disconnected to the source. See, religion will tell you the opposite. That if you ain't following what they doing, shit. What do the churches tell you? If you ain't paying your tithes, you'll go to hell. So that's saying if you can't just go to church, you've got to pay to go to church. There's not too much that can knock you off, connect your connection with the source. I'm gonna have to bring up my notepad again. I'm saying it too damn much. Catching myself. uh, hmm. So this is the thing: is don't be hard on yourself because it's never too late to connect with source. It's never too late. You can sit down tonight and you can feel that energy coming in. You can feel that love. I mean, that's probably not said enough. The source is about love. And I know I talk about the divine feminine being freaky and all that, but it's also about pure love. Is that the source loves you regardless. Again, I'm not saying the mass murder mother. I'm just saying average people. The source, you can never really disconnect that from that. But it's just so much of the world takes away the love. And that's what the witch says, love or above. And I agree. You got to stay in love. It's the only way you can really attack this thing. Because no matter how it comes at you, you have love in your heart. And that don't mean being a simp. That just means that they can't make your meter go down. You make it go down, but not them. You make your meter go down. You don't let them take it down. And I know it's hard. It's hard. You wake up and you're just full of love, and the wife does something, she farts or won't give you none in the morning, or your husband, whatever. Your love will go down. The children, want extra money, and you was planning on doing something else with the money, and it's something you got to pay with the children. It'll make your love go down, and it's like you 50% of love by the time you get to work, and by the time you working and all the bullshit, shit, your love meter might be down to your ankles, and you got to go back home. So you going back home with your love meter in your ankles. So how are you going to respond to your family? How are you going to even enjoy going back in your goddamn house? Because the love for that day has been taken away from you. Where it's just simple. Before you go back in the house, make your meter go back up. Listen to some love music going from work. So when you go back at home, you at least brought that shit up to your waist. So you can go back in the people that love you the most. And you can enjoy it. And that's what your home should be. It should put that meter back up. A young lady was telling a story, and parents, this is for parents probably can relate to this more than non-parents. It's like when you have a new baby and the baby's crawling and recognizes you, or even if you have toddlers. Do you know the when you come home, how the toddlers will react when you come home? They should almost tackle you and grab you, even if you got a baby crawling. If he sees you, he hears you coming in, He'll hear you the way you walk, the way you move. That baby will start looking for you. It's like this is dad. And so that all should raise your meter up. But I know, it's things where your woman think that you didn't do enough, you didn't make enough money, you got these bills, the car ain't running right, there's something wrong in the house, you got to cut grass, you're tired. And I'm not saying being just from a man perspective, this can go either way. I mean, I've lived this. I've lived this. But at the same time, like I tell this little knucklehead that's 6'5", 250, there was one time he was sick, and I had to stay up all night healing him. I didn't break his fever till about 4 or 5 in the morning. I had to be at work at 7. I laid down for about an hour and I went to work. Now, I'm not saying that for a pat on the back, but I'm saying that as a parent and having these healing abilities, it was my duty. It was my duty to heal him, and nothing else mattered. What I had to face the next day didn't matter to me because I had to do my duty to him as a parent. Uh, who sang that? Love Come Down. I just can't. I can't think of her name. CC Pendleton, maybe. Love Come Down. Maybe that's CC Pendleton. Not sure the correct title, but it's my jam. I think it was Evelyn Champagne King. Yeah, that was my first thought too. Is that was her hit. We called her Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi. Evelyn Champagne King, but everybody called her Pepsi. I think that was Pepsi. Evelyn Champagne King or Pepsi Riley King. I think Jody looked her up, but it was I was one of the artists. What's funny is the churches say follow the path of light, but everything came from the darkness. So connect with ourselves. We shouldn't look to the dark for our energy and knowledge. Yeah, shouldn't we look into the dark? Yeah, absolutely. That's the first thing when you die or even have an outer body experience. They want to, bring the Borgia or whoever. They want to bring the Borgia to you or whoever they want to bring that on you. You see. So that's why you want to go run away. That's why you teach yourself now. I don't want the boob whisper. Just go to the light, Johnny. Just go to the light. Yeah, you get ate upon. Well, thank you, Jesse Lynn. Thank you, Jesse Lynn. That's very kind of you. Well, let me get to my divination, which is my gift to you. So we should be in 13 platoons, 0 cartoons, 8 tunes, 8 unos, and we should be on 12 kin. And 12 kin would be, I want to say it's Ebb. Yes, it is Ebb. And that is the fractal. I think Ebb is also called ego. And as you see, the energy is for the south. So those of you that want to manifest energy from the south. And Ebb is human vessel for penetration of higher minds. And the energy is coming from the south. I'm one of the few that come on here and talk about directional energy. That's why when I start, I do all directions and I do center high and center low. And that's something I probably don't teach enough. Okay, so when you go in the center, there's center high and there's center low. And that's when you have to search for somebody. That makes it really hard. I'll be honest. That makes it hard. I remember having to look for my cousin when he was in between. And so I'm going through and I found him, I want to say 7 South. 7 South. 7 South, but then there's 7 South. But I want to say it was 7 South. Well, not gonna get confused, but it was 7 South. 7 layers south. I had to find it. But you have the high and low in the center too. And so you go through all 4 directions, and then you've got to go into the middle, and it's up and down through the middle. So it's quite a makes it hard sometimes. It almost seems impossible, but once you move through and get moving through the energies. Oh no, I'm guessing I'm wrong. It is Herb Mile. And this on the card, Mile is seated on the top of a turtle and a snake, animals who spend their life firmly attached to the earth. This means that she is deeply rooted and connected to the earth, and her power is the power of the earth. In one hand, she holds a bowl and flowers, which represents good medicine, healing. The other hand, she carries thorns, symbolizing the bad medicine. In other words, use wisely, the power of the herbs and plants may bring life, but used in absence of the sacred, the same power can bring you pain and death. Here we go again in the present Toltec awareness of duality and everything. The energy of the herb is not good or bad, but it's how they're applied, which makes the difference. The experiences produced by the use of perception altering plants can bring learning and joy, but if these power substances are not handled properly, they may cause sorrow and destruction. By the same token, extracts of plants can be used to produce medicines or produce poisons. This is the meaning of the flower and the thorn of the goddess hands. The positive meaning manal represents the power of a healer. As a warning signal, it represents the physical. The sign of the healer may come to you because you need to look for healing for yourself or because you're called to become a healer. Often both messages apply to both. Healing is meant to encompass the service of a modern doctor, medicine person, therapist, counselor, anyone involved in supporting healing. You will relate to the one that happens to be appropriate for your situation. The archetype of the wounded healer is very relevant to understanding this card. Only when you have suffered pain and recovered from the pain can you understand and support others. Your sorrows, your failure, your times of crisis and emotional pain, all of them will be your assets. And when you are going to support the healing in others, as long as you have recovered and found a place for yourself, then you will be ready to personify the healer authentically. The healing and the healer and the healing come together as two sides of the same coin. The warning meaning of Manali may apply to you if you are having or are on your way to having problems related to the use of substances. In this case, it's important to have your inner eyes open. Only all too often, users admit that they have the problem only when it's too late to reverse it. Make sure this does not happen to you. Um, when the herb when the herb card carries the warning, meaning also signifies the need for healing. So it is warning you. You have so pay attention. So a lot of judgmental shit in that, which I don't think is really positive for divination. So you have to use your discernment. And I used my discernment and how to give it out too. Because it gets a little bit um, do I have a vocation for healing? Why do I want to heal? What is the core reason for me wanting to heal? What is the area of healing that could be natural for me? What is the gift that I want to bring to the world? Am I going too fast in my project or dream? Am I being too intense for others to be able to receive what I want to share? Have I been trying in a clumsy way only to get discouraged and stop too soon? Um, what do I look for in the person I would like to be with? What is attracting me to the significant person? Am I seeing the soul or just the physical features? Where does the real beauty reside? What is the beauty that I have to offer others? What is the beauty that grows as time goes by? So, just some different ways to apply this energy. But again, if you manifest and remember, you can get a push from the south. Uh, Parenting, I wish I had more than one child. Most High knows my heart. Huge responsibility they are. I'll say this: I hate all my children equally. I was just throwing it out there for all to think about. Also, oh, good point. I did a few videos called Church of None. Oh, that is clever. That is real clever. Oh snap! I still need to finish this series so I can start another one on spiritualness. Yeah, Crazy Sarge. If you ever got anything you want to say a little bit on here, you know you are always welcome. You have my number. You can call me, text me anytime. You are a solid brother, and I appreciate your friendship. And I am getting 2 packages out tomorrow, so that is going to be one of my goals. Is get those packages out because that is something I struggle with. So I've got 1 package already done. I think Barbara is getting this other package. Um, so she's getting the 4 marbles, and then I'm going to send the rest of these marbles out. But I'll see who wants them tomorrow. I'll gather all up that I have because I have too many. And there's calcite is a pretty good stone that will give calming, a little bit of protectiveness, And so it's just a nice little stone that they gave out. And actually, they're made to cool drinks. You can keep in the freezer. They don't really work that good. You can get some Shugite that does kind of very similar, but they're good calcite that's cheap, and I got them free. So I'm not giving the bags up. I'm going to give Barbara a bag. I think Barbara's the one that's going to get the bag, but I'm keeping the other bags. But I will give out these. I will give out, send these out to people because they are calcite, and it's just a nice little cool crystal to start with for those that don't have it. And almost all black crystals are pretty much protective too. But calcite has an extra layer, and in whatever liquor this is, they use like a type of black marble, which calcite is marble. And so, but I'll be saying more. I got to get these done tomorrow, so hopefully I can get those done. I got a lot to do tomorrow, a lot to do. So hopefully I can get everything done. So, well, thank you. That is so smooth for you to say. And yeah, I'm not gonna go too much longer. 2 hours seems to be enough of anybody coming back to want to watch. But the thing is I'm silly, I'm stern, uh, I'm a solid person. Uh, like the little autistic boy that I always, when I pick up food, I always get stuff for him, little snacks. I always have him in mind. I pick up extra stuff so I can give him. Um, and he stops by, he sees me, he's like, "Thank you for the snacks." He always thanks me, but it's just, um, I know that some nights his people, his mom, may be busy, and so a little extra food helps. Always can help anybody, especially him, to just sit there and honestly, sometimes a qualifier, but sometimes it's good for a child just to have substance. And so, granted, a lot of times it's sugary, but think about it like this: is having something sugary better than starving? And for his instance, I think it is. I would rather him having something sugary than starving and be hungry. So, the stuff you sent off, you want? Can you give the stuff I am sending out? If you want, you can give some out too. Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, kind. Okay. Yeah. Live stream was stimulating and relaxing at the same time. That makes sense. Well, I'm glad that you guys appreciate this. Another one. Thank you. I hope you appreciate it. I try to give my best, and I try to be authentic as I can. I give the names of people that I get energy and ideas from. A lot of people don't do that, and I've caught people with big channels using my brother's work, using others' works. Like it's a very popular person that we watch. I caught him using Siova's advice. Siova said, "Make little clips of your shows," and yeah, we saw somebody using that. So these numbers may not show. So forget what these numbers say. Is people see your stuff. So everybody that's content creators, keep that in mind. People will see your stuff. And when you're seeing your stuff being imitated, and they've been imitating my stuff since 15, 16, 17. I've been seeing a lot of people, but that's okay because I don't own the information. I don't own the information. I just put it out there. I use my research and I bring it out there like that. So I don't even own it. It's the research. Again, we are in the age of it's the communication age. So all the research and stuff is out there. So as you know, I always end with Eshan's poem. So I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slayer. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Aidwind is Timeless, or Aidwind Eagle, or Time Lord, or Time Walker. One more thing I will say is, yeah, we might really try to um, experience flat Earth, flat plane. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if it's too much. If it's too much, and I can't do it because going in, you got to come out. So to just give people the perspective of the illusion that comes from it, because too many people that say they believe that they don't tell you about the illusion part of it. So that's a part that's reality. Like Valerium, city of a or planet of a thousand cities, whatever it's called, kind of tries to show you how there's reality right there, but it just looks like people walking around with nothing there. but they show how they can go through the veil to this other reality. And that's what we are seeing that NASA and the government is trying to do. Like, remember Fringe? And then there was a show on Netflix with a dude who does the state farmers insurance. He was in that, where they had a border, kind of like Fringe, where you went on the other side, and there's your opposite. I put your name as Eight Wind Time Lord. I put in your name as Eight Wind Eagle Time Lord. That's funny. And the Time Lord fit me at the time. It did. It fit me. But as we evolve, and I got to studying more of the South American stuff, I was like, this stuff is kind of, because actually my name would be 13 Ozdabaz, which would be, yeah. So my name in Mayan would be 13 that word, because that would be the year I was born. And a lot of times that's how the names came out. Like one of the great people of South America's eight deer jaguar claw. Eight deers when he's born. Jaguar claw would have been his nickname. Claw probably is what they called him. They probably called him Claw or Jaguar Claw. And then it's Eight Wind Flint Eagle. So he was probably called Eagle or Flint Eagle would have been his name. You don't see the names like that changing until you get to the Aztecs. But again, remember the Aztecs was from the Americas and went down to Mexico. So that's why they carried that kind of name. But if you study older America, and then again, we don't even know the Omen name. Like all those heads, they don't know the names of them. That stuff is too ancient. We had Dr. Winters or Dr. Clyde Winters thinking he's used African script and he can read the Omen works. Well, get the hell out of here with that, because you're Pan African and you're trying to smush your Pan African where it doesn't go. I'm in the process of finding my name. Yeah. So what you do? That's where this book is really great, and you can do divinations out of this book. And he studied with him, or he studied with him, um, Jose Aguirre's. But it's a way. Maybe if I can find a way to put this on. Where's the charts? Let me get this right. See which chart is which. But there are charts. Here we go. Yeah. So maybe one day I'll sit there and mess with this. But there are charts like this that you can come up with the year you was born, and then this actually puts the years in. So you can kind of like me would be like I would. So what you do is I would go into 1961. Now this one shows 8 Khan, but there's another part of this book that says 13 Astaban. But like here in this one would have me as 8 Khan, because I would go over to 1961, and it would still be under 8 Khan, because you have the different numbers. And then so I would you could go into the binary as well and find out when you were born. And so this is a pretty good way to do divinations too. There's several different ways. Maybe it's here. That would put me Ozdaban. Maybe it's not that one. But there's steps that show you how to get into it. Because the Mayan had one had 20 months and 13 days. The other one has 13 months and 28 days. Because we're coming into May would be the day out of time. That is how they celebrate. The day out of time is coming in May. Then another one will be in June, July. So there'll be a day out of time that comes in May, and then there'll be another day out of time that comes in July, depending on what calendar. And like he gets into the sacred Mayan suns, which is again 13 Ostabaz, which would be for me So there's a lot of ways you can do divinations. It's really interesting how he put this together. And I don't study this enough, but it is really a great way because it shows how you can put your divination charts in here. So all the influence of South America can be put all in this. It can give you kind of the full process and even your light codes. I've showed that before. The light pulse. It can even give you your light pulse. And so each person has a type of light pulse that he's charted out for you. And so he gives out 20 light pulses. And he says the sacred sun begins a 13-day light pulse creates underlying influence and unconsciously motivates its solar destiny within the light pulse. The base energy or intention of a light pulse is convert and lies beneath the obvious energy in sacred sun and the sacred number of a date of birth or a chosen day in question. If the sacred number in question is one, this energy is magnified, is not influenced or dilated by other suns within the light pulse. Each light pulse within a light pulse also has corresponding hertz. Okay, that's what I was trying to tell people. This is also a hertz that you have. That is why on certain days when you hear songs, the song will hit you a little differently because every day we have a certain hertz or a certain sound that we resonate daily. It was like when Quicksand first came out. That's where I was resonating. And so that's why that song, the first time I was hearing it, it really resonated with me because I was kind of vibrating on that. Frequencies on a graph so we can explore the effects and the rise and fall of frequency within the light pulse. In one sense, we can see the music of the sacred token, the heartbeat of the galactic core, and the songs of the universe. And so that is why certain songs hit us certain ways sometimes because we are vibrating like that. Um, and it's like to keep the spin. Again, if you want to go to the center of the universe, you do have to have the proper energy, in which I call the proper spin. Even getting into deep meditation, it's you want to spin properly to get into the proper meditation. That's one thing that maybe people don't consider is you have to be spinning properly as well. Because sometimes you spin like this, sometimes you spin like that, sometimes I mean but you want to get to spinning where your energy is moving up enough. And that's a part of what they were saying. One divineness, when all your chakras are aligned and your spin is right, that's when you're spiritually able to move. And sometimes you don't realize that you're spinning high enough. You'll close your eyes and you're there already because you've done enough where you're spinning properly. And as soon as you close your eyes, you are there. You're like busting through the veil. And so you're looking like, that was pretty quick. And a lot of times old memories will take you out of that. It will try to lower your vibration. All these things in the earth was like, man, this mug is breaking through. He's spinning too high. So we got to send this negative stuff to him to bring him down. And you've busted through. Oh shit. Okay. I'll keep pushing. They want me to push this shit. Okay. And so you try to raise that up, but be aware of that because you could just sit there, close your eyes, and be there, breaking through the veils, and realize that you are spinning high enough. And so I guess that's a thing to realize about yourself too. Like look at your spiritual meter. The love meter is the same, but the love meter, your spiritual meter, all have to blend together. All have to blend together. And so you can properly meditate because that's another part of meditation is that you are spinning right. And that's what when you get into atoms, they want to tell you about the double slit theory, but that's it. That's where they don't tell you that when you go through the double slits, you superposition. Which way are you spinning? Which way are you spinning? It don't just end going to the slits. It's a reaction after you go into the slits. And that's what getting into time crystal is because the time crystal is going to make something repeat. Again, my original studying on the time crystals was they took all them heads, the ones they showed us in England, and they put them all around each other. And then there was a main head in the center, and all those heads would ignite, and that was a repeating reality. through that would create a type of time crystal, a type of time movement. And so they put all those heads together, and then they would be able to absorb that energy and move with the time crystals through the heads. Because again, I've said this before, there's a skull library. You study about skulls, they want to tell you that there's one main skull, and but yeah, there's a skull library whose fractals are different, and it has a keeper, and the fractals are different than I couldn't even describe them because there's nothing around us that when I ran into the school library. And I don't even know where I got the idea from. I was just messing with my skulls one night. And before I know it, I'm sitting there in front of the keeper and he gave me little information. He gave me some of these fractals. Like, put these in your bag. I'm like, okay, you're very creepy looking, but okay. And that's again, when you go into these realms and meet these entities, is to make an entity that might look non-agreeable to be agreeable. And don't be fooled. Like, remember the Passion of Christ, the little beautiful child angel. He was fooled by it. He was like, thought I was the one. And what does the little devil say? You weren't. And he believed her. So, but these are the possibilities. These are the possibilities. I mean, we each can push through the veil. That's the thing. And the more we push through the veil, the more the beast, the more we're beating that thing. The more you push out fear, because they have never pushed out more fear than what we see right now. In my close to 60 years of living, I've lived through wars. It's been very few times in my life there wasn't a war. And so every day there's war this, war that, the economy this, the economy that. Gas is short. All this fear they put on people. And this is the biggest fear program they've ever put out these last year. That is why people think that if you go do what they say do, you can be normal. But people are saying, we've been normal. We ain't been doing that stupid shit. You forced us to wear the shit in the stores, but that's not the battle. The battle is this other stupid shit going around us. We don't believe in the fear. Take your fear and stick it up your ass. Fuck that fear. Block fear, block fear, block fear. Danger exists, not fear. Danger, not fear. Fear is man-made. Fear, you get off these boxes, the radios. This is what they want to hit you with, is fear. Fear this, fear that, fear this. You go to church, fear this, fear that, fear this. Your family, well, did you hear about that fear today? Yeah, that fear was a motherfucker, wasn't it? Grandpa's like, yeah, that fear was some shit. You guys got to buy into this fear. What do you think, Jim? Fuck that fear. And fuck y'all for being fearful. I don't buy into your fear. I don't want a serving of your fear. Keep that shit. I don't want to drink your fear. I don't want to put your fear in me. There's others that look at the shit like, okay, this shit can't bother me. Whatever. You want me to do this to work? Okay, it's not going to bother me. Fuck that. Okay, you want to do this? It ain't going to hurt me. It's another way you can look at it too. They putting you in that position to support your family. Okay, it can't hurt me. Okay, you put it in me. I'm not going to turn it into an android or a zombie. I'm stronger than it. So, okay, I guess that's it. Yeah, went about 20 minutes longer. Thank you guys. I appreciate it because without you guys' support, what took me a year before, I've accomplished, and this is going on my fourth month, going into my fifth. So thank you. Anybody that watches my video, thank you. I appreciate the people that have donated. I'm so humbled. Never thought I'd make a quarter on this stuff. I appreciate it. That's why I try to uh, show different things. Well, thank you. Overstand, that's very kind for you to say. Thank you. Oh, you too. You too. Thank you. Oh, Anise, that's very kind. I appreciate those kind words. I really do. I really appreciate the kind words. That's why I don't like attacking people on here, nor do I want people to attack other folks. Because in the research community, all opinions are welcome. And we ain't got to agree with you, but damn if we're going to attack you for your information or your opinion. Nobody deserves to be attacked for their opinion and what they think, what they feel. I want people to know they can come on here, and I don't allow anybody to be attacked, nor am I going to attack anybody. I may not agree with you, but that doesn't mean I have guests come on. That doesn't mean I agree with all of them, but I respect their right to say it. So, till we meet again, thank you.